Alright, well, I'm going to try not to mess this up, but if any of you are running a Harley Davidson and seem to be having issues with the throttle by wire, specifically the sticking, what I was having is when trying to like slow roll onto the throttle, I'm getting this like sticking action when you're rolling into it. And I didn't really think anything much of it. I kind of figured, well, this is probably just the throttle by wire system. It's probably just part of it. All my other bikes have always been throttle by cable, and I've never experienced anything like it before. I recently went on a ride that went down a more technical road, and getting into the corners and stuff and trying to roll on the throttle out of the corners, it started putting myself in some pretty hairy situations because I am going as a slow roll onto the throttle, and as I'm getting to a certain point it would stick, then all of a sudden break, and that's not a good thing to be doing when you're facing the edge of a cliff. So I've gotten back from that ride and started to do some research and found some other people that were having the same problem. One person ended up taking it back to the dealership. They got like 2 different throttles put in. Another gentleman had the same issue, but his actually came off the end and could spin around. And what he ended up doing was disassembling the whole unit and putting it all back together, and he said it was much better. However, watching his video, it still seemed like it was sticking when he was rolling into the throttle. So what I did is I just loosened everything up. I'll show you the bolts. There is one right here. There is one right down there. And then you have one here and one there. All I did was I loosened it up a little bit, just a little bit, so that way I could get some play in the whole brake handle and this area. Once I got that loosened up just a little bit, I started moving it back and forth and kind of tilting it, and this part specifically, I kind of got this into a place and then would kind of move this forward, push it in and out. And what I found was if I had this in, pushed in, it seemed to stick a lot less. So I figured, well, if I pull this all the way out, is that going to help? Well, I pushed this as far in this way as I could, and it got worse. So I pushed it all the way this way and as far as I could, and again it got worse. So I kind of brought it into the middle and then just jimmied it around a little bit and then started rolling on it, and then I move it a little bit and I started rolling on it until I found kind of like a sweet spot. And now when I roll on it, I can do a slow roll without getting any stick in the throttle. Didn't take anything apart, just loosened up 4 bolts and tried that. Worked great for me, didn't have to change anything, and saved me a trip to the Harley Davidson dealership and probably a lot more money because I tend to spend money when I get there. So avoid that Harley tax, try it yourself. It is a couple of Torx. I believe it was a Torx 28. Let me check. I used a T25, that was a little too small, and a, so worn down, yeah, T28. So that's all you need to loosen it up, and then from there just kind of mess with it and don't push or pull on it too hard. Give it a try and hopefully that helps. So there you go.